Morning, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Very quickly, I'll just get my panel to introduce themselves, give their name and where they work, and then we'll dive right into our topic for the day. So over to you, Nick.
Hello, everyone. Pleasure to be here. I'm Elena Shaterova, and I'm Chief Commercial Officer for 4/7 Gaming. It's actually a B2B provider who is offering original game content. And yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. Tamas?
Hi, everyone. I'm Tamas. I've been in the industry for about 10 years. Currently, I'm CCO at Playson. We make slots as well. Surprisingly enough for you guys, I guess. That's about it.
And finally, Nick.
Hello, everyone. Once again, I'm Nick from Mascot Gaming, and yes, I'm responsible for development of the company, preliminary sales, and we are doing slots, and that's mostly the only product we are focused on. So it's, so to say, a company of a single product and a very IT and product-focused company.
Perfect. So as you can tell, we are a group of suppliers on stage. So I have designated Tamas to represent the operator today. So he is not being Playson, he's being an unknown operator. He can decide who he wants to be, depending on what he has to say. But first of all, I'd like a show of hands within the room. Who thinks that volatility has gotten out of control within our industry? Hands up. Only one person? Two people? Only two people in the whole room thinks volatility is out of control. Okay, interesting. So I guess first question, guys, is the same question to you. Yes or no, is volatility within the slot space out of control? Nick?
No.
No, okay, very simple. Tamas, you can be you and the operator with two answers if you want.
Yes and yes, I would say.
Yes and yes, okay. And finally, Elena, what about you?
I would say no.
You say no, okay. So diving into this in more detail, do you think that that question and the answer to it changes depending on whether we're talking about regulated UK versus an unregulated market such as Japan or Norway or other markets? We'll start with you, Tamas.
No, I don't really think that, because there is the regulated aspect. This is not something you can change, right? This is a given. So when it comes to a provider or an operator, for that matter, thank you very much, Fiona, then it's not making a real difference. It's the player experience that I think is changing with the volatility changing around.
Okay. Elena?
Well, what I would say is that actually the players, some of the players, of course, they do expect the games to get more and more volatility, but of course there is also players who prefer other type of games. So at the end, I think that the volatility can increase more.
Okay. And Nick, from your perspective?
Yes, of course, talking about volatility, first of all, I would agree that volatility is increasing nowadays. And that's a given fact. But is it out of control? Of course not. And I have a very boring answer to it, that because everything is based on science and math, and that's what we do, it can't be out of control. Of course, it should be a real balance of how high the volatility can grow, but we always try to keep it under control.
And do you think that there's a responsible gambling aspect to this? So when we're looking at the big win videos that come out and some of the crazy bet amounts and things like that that we're seeing on stream and with websites that we all know and have seen become increasingly popular in the last 18 months, do you think that we're doing the industry a favor by consistently pushing these big wins and these volatile games, or do you think that we need to really factor responsible gaming into it a little bit more? Nick, I'll start with you on this one.
Should I start? Okay, yeah. Thank you. Responsible game. I think it's not a question to our side. I would better push it to the operators, and it's mostly because we are providing tools and we are providing just a mean how you can interact with your clients. And, but of course, we are always interested to attract more players and to keep the audiences. And that's why it's, we are always seeking to a way to keep high volatility and interest of the players, but still not going into extreme expenses of the operators, and to keep our business model. I would say that maybe a good example of it's a recent trends in the development of slot games. Like I can refer to Rockways technology, we call it, and that's maybe more common name is Megaways. And this is a type of games where you can really achieve some features of a high volatility games. For example, you can bet like $1 and then you have a win of 10 or 20,000, and that can keep very high interest for the high rollers. And at the same time, it's a really low volatility game because each and every spin you can win small pieces of, you can collect small pieces, you can win something.
And Elena, what about you? Do you feel that by us, the suppliers, consistently putting volatile games out into the market and focusing on that area is being responsible to our operators and to ultimately the players, which are our end users?
Well, as a supplier, yes, I think we have responsibility what kind of games we are putting into the market. And we should be concentrate on diversification on the portfolio. We should offer to the players different type of games. The players are different types, so we should create games with clear bonuses, with easy triggers, to make players know what to expect of the game and how to play, and trade them, to make them feel comfortable until they play the game. To help them to determine the volatility just because they should feel comfortable and they have to get an idea what they can lose and what they can win from exact game.
Tamas, do you agree with that?
In my opinion, it's not really about the responsible gambling aspect. It's about the entertainment aspect of a slot machine, right? We also have to think about players who have an average amount of money to deposit, 50 euros. Are they really going to enjoy buying 500 times their bonus at 10 cents or not? This is the question where it becomes a little bit more complicated. I don't think, I mean, everyone's an adult and they can choose what sort of entertainment they would like, but is this really entertaining for players or not, is the question, really.
Exactly, and if somebody is having to spend 250 spins in order to get into a bonus round or see something, then are they truly getting value for money? Are they getting the entertainment that they signed up for? No, that's a question.
The short answer is yes.
You
really.
think so if they haven't had anything in 250 spins that they've gotten what they wanted from the game?
No, I mean, obviously player sessions have been a lot shorter since mobile gaming came in. So obviously there's no problem with having a bonus buy game. There's no problem. It's how you distribute the RTP. It's how you give the best possible entertainment to your player, in my opinion. And you know, when the volatility gets to the crazy levels, all the RTP is put into the bonus game because you have to be able to reach all these 150,000 times wins. So how entertaining is it? How quickly is it going to drain the player? Are they really going to enjoy the 50 spins or 100 spins in the base game if all they're looking for is to get into the bonus round to hit that one lottery-like big win, right?
Absolutely. And it's getting that balance so that the game is ultimately balanced and that they are getting entertainment within it. How do you find balancing it amongst your portfolio, Nick, when you're looking at it and trying to come up with how many volatile games you do versus how many mid-volatile games? Do you factor your operators into it? Do you factor your markets into it? How do you guys choose?
Can I?
Yes, of course.
Well, it is so about the strategy of the B2B providers. I mean, if you want to target just the VIP customers and just people who are already hard players, you definitely are creating very high volatility games. If you want and if you decide to create a portfolio with medium or low volatility games, then you might, your approach is like you want to target more newcomers, more even people who are not playing yet, to educate them, to make them play, to bring them into the casino, to create new audience. So this position is, for me, is completely, you know, this is the way how, as a B2B provider, you would like to be presented on the market. Maybe the balance is very good on this position. Maybe it's still good to create medium and high volatility games for the casinos because we all know that these games attract maybe 70–80% of the players into the casino nowadays. But we should think about the newcomers, the people who are not playing yet, who even do not have the years to play, because these people, they won't be attracted from these high volatility games which are well known nowadays. They will be more attracted from more soft games, more gaming concepts which are not so high volatility, but interact them with bonuses, features, etc. So.
And Tamas, how do you factor kind of what the operator wants into the strategy of how you guys create your games and where you go about with it?
Well, I mean, as an operator, right?
You can be both.
Yes.
Whichever you want for this
answer. As an
answer.
operator, I would say, obviously, as an operator, you're quite focused in your target market, which is just a little slice of the cake. So when you look at the operators, then the player demographics, you have a lot more data about it. So, most casinos are focused to a particular geo, and they are the experts of it. Whereas when you're on the provider side, you try to make something that pleases everyone a little bit. And then the way we do things is that we always have a target market in our mind, but we always think of a global audience. So we are not going into extremes in localizing our content, but every time we make a game, we have a particular geo in mind that we think will work very well, but on the other hand, we also think that this will be able to work globally. And sometimes we're super surprised what happens, right? Sometimes we were aiming for Italy, and then it becomes a success in Romania more than Italy.
For example, exactly what works in the UK isn't necessarily what the Japanese market are going to want to play in terms of volatility and in terms of theme and things like that. And you have to factor both your markets and your operators into that discussion. Do you think that as suppliers we are delivering what our casino managers, our heads of casino, our operators actually want? Do you think that we are giving them the volatility levels and the volatility ranges in our portfolios that they want? Or when you sit down with them at SiGMA or any other conference, are they telling you, we need more diversity, we need softer games, we need harsher games? What are you hearing? Are we aligned, or do we disagree completely in how we address this? Nick, do you want to take this one?
Yes, of course. Speaking regarding our portfolio in terms of volatility, I think it's pretty balanced. And so we have both games, and we have such a scale of volatility, what we can recommend. And the idea is maybe for us to work closer with casino managers to explain how particular game can perform and what they can deliver. And we also classify them as traffic and profit games, which is very clear from their naming.
I feel like we all want profitable games, right? We want every game to be like that.
Yeah, so, and that's always a strategy. I think we have our own recommendation and ideas how you can, and of course our own data and analysis, how the games should perform in the with the operator. So we offer to start with a certain games, and they can generate their audiences. And for some audiences, of course, we can go with a higher and higher volatility. So, but that's, I would say, from the provider side, we always are advisors and the people who understand our own products, so we can give some recommendation. And in the perfect case scenario, we can advice on a strategy.
Elena, what do you think?
Yeah, okay, I want to add something. It is, again, all depend on the operator and the needs of the operator, because the experience we have is actually that there are operators who are asking us for really high volatility products, but because the volatility reflects also to the cash flow of the casino. And, but I can see that half of the operators, they don't want to take the risk. And in the beginning, when they're starting using our products, they're asking us for low volatility games, for games which are not with progressive jackpots, for example. I have so many examples for operators who want very low star amounts of the jackpots, or either they do not want the jackpot to be switched on at the very beginning, because this is reflected to the volatility of the games as well. Because the volatility is not only about the player, it's about the risk of the cash flow for the casino. So what we are offering, of course, we are offering that's what the operator needs, and depend on how the operator wants to be present on the market and what kind of players is targeting to have in the casino.
And Tamas, how do you feel that the generation of streamers has added to this? I mean, if we talk 5 years ago, it was nowhere near to where we are now with seeing huge wins on stream and people gambling huge amounts of money on very well-known websites and things like that. How do you feel the streaming community has added to this love of volatility or push for volatility?
I think it added quite a lot, actually, because on screen, when you're watching an entertainment show, which what streamers are, this is exactly what you want, the excitement, the big wins. But what people tend to forget is that an average player will not have unlimited balances, right? They're not going to have all these 500% non-sticky bonuses and all that. So what you see in a YouTube compilation in 10 minutes, this has been put together in 3 months of gambling, right? So it added a lot to the volatility because it gives a lot of entertainment if you have unlimited funds.
Or funds that you don't have to pay for.
Oh, that's a very different discussion to be had, but yeah.
It had
perhaps.
to be thrown out there.
Exactly. But what I think is that entertainment factor in volatility, when you watch a streamer, yes, absolutely. This is what I want to see. Huge wins, big emotions, them high-fiving all around and whatnot. But we have to look at it as a series or a TV show, right? Rather than how gambling actually is. How gambling actually is that you go on, deposit on your phone, you play 10, 15 minutes, and you either run out of funds or you won enough that you want to withdraw in an optimal case. So there is a big difference between reality and what you see on Twitch, and this is something that is important for the customers to understand as well.
Absolutely. Elena?
Well, here what I would like to say is that, well, the panel is focused on the volatility in the slots, but we should consider that there is plenty of other type of games, very interesting ones, which has also their own volatility. And can you imagine if I should say is that the more volatility game is not either a slot, but it's a lottery game? Because with just one ticket for €1, you can become a millionaire. So again, does that mean that we should bring all lottery players into the casino, make the slots more volatility? Because definitely the lottery players are people who love to act and to play really volatility games. And maybe this is the kind of position, and yeah, we could bring some people, increasing the volatility of the slots and make them playing slots. But again, the diversification of the portfolio is something very important. In our opinion, there is different players who love to play different games, depend on their specific math and volatility.
And do you think that streamers are showcasing that diversification in a portfolio, though? Do you think that they're putting those lower level volatility games out there, or do you think that streamers are just pushing the high volatile games because it's more entertaining? Nick?
Actually, as we already discussed, yeah, the volatility can skyrocket and we can reach any point, and it's entertainment, it's show. My personal point of view regarding how high it could be and how we can observe the growth of it, I think it's nearly reached the point, and maybe me personally, I will more look into social aspects or maybe competition aspects of the games in the nearest future, not into like creating huge shows of big wins. It's kind of it's losing moment for me. It's what we observed, at least in our own experience.
Perfect. Final comment for you, Tamas. You got 30 seconds.
Yeah, I think I said everything about volatility that I had to say. The only thing that maybe I look like I'm someone against high volatility. No, by all means, do a very volatile game. We also have 20,000 X max wins in our portfolio, but do it in a way that it can be entertaining for the player. This is the point that I was trying to get across. It's not being against volatility, it's to do it in a way that is entertaining. This
Providing
is my point.
exact entertainment for the players long term as well.
Exactly.
Perfect. Panel, thank you very much for joining me. Appreciate it.